To week two, we're going to continue to look at an introduction to materials management. Today, we're going to look at the planning system questions. As the manager, you may ask yourself and your team, what are we going to make? What does it take to make it? What do we already have? What do we need to get? Well, the key is to match. What? Match what? The priority demand to the capacity resources. When you think about priority, we're talking about what is needed material-wise, when, how much, what labor force. And we're also going to think about the capacity. Do we have that capability to produce what is needed when it's needed? Therefore, we look at the major levels of planning and control. You're thinking about time span. You're looking at your strategic business plans. You're looking at your MPSs, your MRPs, and your purchasing production activity control. I would like to just give you the example or actual explanation of the acronyms I just used. So MPS, it stands for your master production schedules, and your MRP stands for your materials requirement plans. When we're at each level, we have to decide what our priorities are. What do we want to produce? How much and when? And what is our available capacity? So we're going back to that key match. You're thinking in this chapter as you're reading, as you're listening to the lecture, we're mainly asking ourselves questions. That's all we're doing. But that's not really as strange as you might think it will be. Because again, when you are in the management position, when you are the inventory manager, when you're in charge and you're making the MRPs, the MPSs, you have to ask yourself these questions internally. You also have to ask these questions of your production team as well. So it's not strange at all. So when you look at this, what is the differences that can happen or be actually between the priorities and capacities? How can this be solved? How can it not become a conflict? Well, let's look at the planning hierarchy. So you just see where you start with your strategic business plan and you go into the master production plan and the master production schedule. That's all part of your master plan. Then your MRP goes right into your production control and purchasing. Amazing, isn't it? Then you look into your planning and your implementation. After that, you're going to think about the quantities of each product, the projected desired inventory levels, and the resources such as your equipment, your labor, and your material. And are these available? When you think about the master production schedule, you want to make sure that this shows for every period what the quantity is of each end item that's supposed to be made. Your level of detail is higher than that production plan. You're going to think about your end items and your time periods. Think about weeks instead of months. When you're more detailed planning control, you're going to rely on your material requirements plan. Your end item, those are the requirements, those have to be broken down in different components. What to make or buy and when. And when you go back to production activity control, you think of you execute your plan, you detail your specific orders to produce items from the MRP. And when you think about purchasing, it's similar to production and activity control, but this only requires the items to be purchased rather than produced. When we look at capacity management, that again is another area. Many levels of planning and control happen right at capacity management. You want to reconcile with resources that must be made, and you have to obtain the right resources. If they're inadequate, you're going to miss your production schedule. The resources, they need to exceed planned production. Idle resources can always mean extra cost. We look at the sales and operations plan. I want you to look at this figure very clearly. You see again, it all involves your strategic business plan includes your marketing and your production plan. Also includes a detailed sales plan and your MPS. And you've got to decide whether this is something that happens annually, monthly, or weekly, or daily. But this can also be used to update your strategic plan for your company, provides tools for change, and enforces functional plans, and represents a plan to achieve company objectives, as well as provides management visibility of production, inventory, and backlogs. When you develop your production plan, you have to, again, ask yourself questions regarding flexibility. What outside resources are out there that can help you? And can we utilize our inventory and meet our demand? This time, we're going to look at the chase strategy, which is the basic production plan strategy. Chase, often used when inventory can't be used or resources are flexible and inexpensive. Level, actually used when resources are difficult or very expensive to change. Or you can use a hybrid, and that's a combination of some chase and some level. This is an example of the demand pattern with time as a constant variable. This is a chase production. And this is level production. The simple formula for level production, you need to get your production rate, you need to sales subtracted from opening inventory plus your ending inventory. Opening inventory means what you had at the beginning, endings at the end, divided by the number of production periods. Here's a practice problem. Please take out a piece of paper and write down the answer that you get from this problem. Please send me your answer through Google Mail or through course messages, and I will let you know if you're right. All right, all. To check your answer, Charlie's Chair solution is below. Now, let's look at level production again. So as you're thinking about the number of units, but you got your level production and your use inventory, this is the area where you want to create your inventory. Because why? It's creeping closer to your demand. Again, your times your constant. Your hybrid strategy looks a little different as it crosses into each level. Here's a numerical example. So here's a forecast. Assume the product family is a make-to-stock family with starting inventory of 100. So we're going to see each of these periods. So we have periods 1 through 6. Our forecast demand is 150 units, 160, 180, 175, 155, and 140. The total of those is 960 units. When you're doing it using the level strategy, again, you can see your periods and you can see the forecast demand, how much they're actually going to make, and the planned inventory. Here is that same production plan when using the chase strategy and using the hybrid. Here's a practice problem. Sean's Chimney Cleaning Company. Please take a few moments to read the practice problem. This time, I will give you the answer. Okay, so I will send you all the answer through course messages or through email to see if your answer compares with mine at the end of this week. Make to order production plans. Now, as we go into this, we're going to look at these products are made to customer specifications and the customer is willing to wait for completion. Again, the products are more expensive and there's many options that are available. And the company has to use a backlog of unfilled customer orders rather than inventory. So as we think about these concepts this week, and especially the example problems, we are finding out, we have learned some valuable lessons for inventory management to help us become more effective managers.